it's a given that incrementality is important. The objective of this session is to talk a little bit more about incrementality in affiliate programs and how we go about driving more incrementality, measuring incrementality, and overall just thinking about the concept in the world of affiliate. My name is Chris Jensen. I am the head of retail partnerships at Ibotta. Ibotta is the largest rewarded shopping platform on mobile. Our mission is to make every purchase rewarded. And the way we do this is by offering cash back when people try new brands or make purchases with retailers. For our retailers and our brands, we're a 100% pay-per-revenue model, which everybody in this room is familiar with, but we're laser focused on incrementality. We've really built the platform around the idea of inspiring incremental purchases.
My name is Carlos Otelo. I am the Director of Internet Marketing Analytics for eBay. eBay is a very well-known company, one of the top 50 brands in the world, actually, and that offers a lot to in the world of affiliate marketing and for potential partners. We have the most diverse inventory in the world with more than 1.2 billion items at any point in time. We have expansion over the whole world with very strong position in Europe, particularly UK and Japan overall. And we have this strong brand that makes conversion on the impressions on our items stand out, right, compared to our competitors. So that's what eBay offers. eBay is placing great hopes in eBay's partner network, what we call EPN. It is one of our main sources of marketing input and one of our main channels. Multi-billion worth of business that we are running these days, and definitely it is an area where we need to identify the different buckets of value, which is very close to what Chris was saying around incrementality. Incrementality matters a lot, and this is why we have my team of data scientists dedicated to that specific area and trying to identify the buckets where we can double invest with trust and confidence in the returns.
So I've actually only been involved in affiliate marketing for about 2 years. I was speaking with Carlos before this, similar for you, right?
Right.
But I've spent the last 10 years in performance marketing and was always had the perception of affiliate marketing, and particularly loyalty affiliate, about it being great to drive scale, but not so awesome when it came to incrementality. And that was supported by my own personal experience. When I think about my experience at loyalty affiliate publisher sites, I found that oftentimes I'd be in the middle of a checkout flow on a particular website. I would get to that promo code field, I would open a new tab because I didn't want to be the only bozo without a promo code out there. I'd steal a promo code, come back, and apply it. And the trick was absolutely not inspired by that promo code. It didn't affect my conversion, I wouldn't say. So I always felt that it was completely non-incremental. Now, this is something that everybody in this room recognizes, and everybody recognizes as a problem. So this is beginning to change. And certainly for the last few years, there have been a lot of platforms out there that have been able to segment audiences into new and existing buckets. And this is a good start. It's a good foundation on which to build, because at least we're starting to separate those people who have purchased with you in the past from those who haven't, who are guaranteed to be incremental. But it's still a pretty blunt approach. And I would say that if we were playing a game of baseball, we would be maybe in inning 2 out of 9 innings with this approach, because the world is not so cleanly organized into this dichotomy. Instead, there is a vast spectrum of people who have transacted with you before. You have the person who may have transacted once and never come back. You have the person who comes in once a month, the person who comes in once a year, and everybody along that continuum has a different value proposition. And I would argue that we should think about that audience of people on the right-hand side different from one another. that our objective should be to move people up the loyalty continuum. Because for each trip that we can inspire, incremental trip that we can inspire on the right-hand side, we'll find that it's 5 times cheaper to get an incremental trip out of them than it is for driving that incremental trip out of a new customer. In other words, as long as incrementality and efficiency matter, then we should be focused on the right-hand side. So, performance marketing platforms like Ibotta, certainly a lot of card-linked platforms out there like Cardlytics, even big players out there like Google have the ability to think about the universe in a more granular approach and to segment audiences so that you can have a one-to-one personalized message according to the incrementality goal that you have for that consumer bucket. So, for example, with eBay, we might have a conversation where Carlos might tell me that holiday sales were great. A lot of people came in, we inspired a lot of customers to come in and make purchases over Black Friday, throughout the holiday season. And we know a good subset of those shoppers who came in at the holidays are unlikely to come in again until next holiday season. And so we may run a special campaign to try to reach those people mid-year or now. Because we know if we get a trip out of them then, that is purely incremental. And it's so much cheaper to do that than to go out and focus solely on acquiring new shoppers. So that's one execution that we could work on. I'm going to pass it to Carlos to talk about additional executions that we put in the market, how those have worked, and how we go about measuring those.
Sure. So the basic setup that we use for incrementality testing is separated actually in 3 different tracks. One is what we call identification. So we need to identify the users that we are going to treat. And actually, our work with Ibotta was groundbreaking in that sense, as thanks to our work together and the technology that we developed, we could identify nearly 100% of the audience that was subject to the test. The second track is randomization. So now that you have identified all those users, then which ones are going to be subject to each treatment? We need to make sure that this split is perfectly randomized, and we have different solutions to run that. And lastly, the third point is on treatment. So how we can, and this is where Ibotta, again, with your capabilities have been critical, actually make sure that each different group is receiving cleanly a very different treatment and how you can operationalize that. With that, we get to what we call the incrementality readout, that you can estimate what is actually the incremental value of one treatment versus the other. This is, as Chris was saying, is the holy grail, right, of marketing, trying to get to the incremental value of our marketing investment. But it's not the only one, and I think this is another space where our partnership with Ibotta has been groundbreaking. We've been trying to answer the second most important point for us, which is elasticity. So which bucket of value is actually scalable? And this is a second stage on our test where we were actually playing with different treatments leading to more adoption from customers and actually leading to greater response, and see whether incrementality was suffering from that or actually not, actually delivering even more incremental value. All this setup that actually was taking quite a few time, given the specificity of the Ibotta platform and the specificity as well, right, of our intentions to measure here incrementality and elasticity, we got to final results. It was a pretty lengthy as well test period, given that Ibotta and all the loyalty partners typically write the benefits over a longer period of time. And we got to final results that were not just some figures, it was a bunch of insights on which specific segments of the audience was more incremental, and how we could strategize about growing our partnership with Ibotta Ibotta in a way that was proven to be incremental for eBay.
I kind of want to leave you with a thought on where this goes, where we're going next. And this is one of many different iterations of where mentality goes, I think. We talked about the fact that a lot of publishers out there have the ability to really create a little bit more granular segmentation according to a consumer's spend with you. Some people spend a little bit, some people spend a lot. And importantly, I don't mean after a transaction has occurred. I mean customizing the messaging or customizing the offer before the customer sees that stimulus, because that's the only time it's going to be effective. It's completely ineffective if we do it after the transaction has occurred. But the problem with this approach is it misses the context of what's happening outside of your store, right? According to this, most people would be interested in really focusing their marketing dollars on chasing folks in buckets 1 and 2, people who don't spend a lot of money with you today. And they may even ignore the folks in bucket 4, the people who are spending a lot, because hey, they're already spending a lot of money with us. But studies show that oftentimes your best customers are also your competition's best customers. The reality is those people are just spending a lot of money in the industry overall. And so suddenly the approach changes a little bit, where we recognize that customer in bucket 4 is actually spending far more money with your competition than with you. And that completely changes the game in terms of how we think about that shopper, right? Where historically we may have ignored them, but now we recognize that we're only scratching the surface in terms of how much value we can take from that person. And if we can focus on trying to capture more share of their wallet, it's going to be 10 times more valuable than going out and getting new shoppers in the door. I'll take moving a customer from bucket 4 to 8 or 8 to 12 all day over trying to capture new customers from buckets 1, 5,